To give you this idea of executive function, we're going to start in a classroom. And I think one of the things that's really interesting is here we are in November, and absolutely the expectation is that by November, the kids should know the routine of the classroom, right? They should be saying what you're doing, and the kids should automatically have a sense of, yep, I know what's coming. So we're going to focus on this little girl here in the blue sweater, and she has really good executive function skills. She absolutely knows the routine. She knows that every Monday morning after sort of circle time, that it ends around 9 o'clock, and they write in their writer's response journals what they did over the weekend. So she's picturing her journal. She can see what it is, and she has a sense that they've got about a half hour to do that before they transition into math. And she's already and re-experiencing the birthday party that she went to over the weekend. And this is really a form of episodic memory in a visual sense. She's like, I know I went to my friend's party and we had cake, and she's kind of re-experiencing that. So with all of that visually in mind, she then begins to talk to herself. She's like, well, let's see, I can write about Lauren's birthday party. It was really fun. And she has awesome procedural memory. She says, I know I need to have a topic sentence, I need to have a few details, and the teacher is expecting expensive adjectives, right? So she has a sense of exactly what the teacher wants. And the minute the teacher says, okay, boys and girls, we finished circle time, it's time to go back to our desks and write, she sits down, she's aware of the time, and she immediately starts writing about the birthday party. I don't have a lot of kids like this on my caseload, not at all. The ones that I have look a little bit more like this. They're Jackson. They show up and they still have their coat on at circle time, right? They haven't quite made the transition. I like this picture because he's kind of got 1 foot in the group and 1 foot out of the group. He's not totally attending, and the teacher says, okay, boys and girls, remember it's Monday morning. We're going to be going back to our desks and writing about what we did over the weekend. And the whole class dismisses, and he's still what? Hanging out by the bookshelf. And now he's prompt dependent, and the teacher comes over and says, okay, Jackson, you need to go back to your desk and you need to write about what you did over the weekend. And Jackson may sit down and she goes, Jackson, where's your writer's response journal? Oh, right. And then he gets up and he gets it and he comes back. But by the time he actually sits down, he has no sense of time, and he starts saying, oh, I hate writing. I don't know what I'm going to write about. Look, she's writing, and all of a sudden he's not initiating and he's not doing anything and he's not using the time well. But these two examples demonstrate the two key base features of executive function. The first is that he doesn't see anything other than that blank piece of paper, and we're looking at the role of working memory. You do have to have working memory for executive function skills, but it has to go in a very explicit order. You have to start with nonverbal working memory. You have to start with this image of, okay, what is it going to look like? And you have to have an image. Well, I see about 2 paragraphs on my writer's response journal. Then you use what we call conditional reasoning, or if-then thinking. Well, if I need a page, and if I have to write about what I did over the weekend, then first I'll do this, and then I'll do that. You're using self-directed talk in the form of verbal working memory. It has to go in this order. A lot of students like Jackson with weak executive function skills, they don't start with nonverbal working memory. As a result, they do not have a lot of if-then thinking. Do you ever notice that with kids with weak executive function? They're just not doing that, well, if this, then that. They're not kind of planning and thinking ahead. And as a result, he has verbal working memory, but is not in the form of self-directed talk. And that's the big challenge. So he's saying, I don't know what I'm going to write about. It's going to be really hard. That's kind of anxiety, but he's not directing the action back on himself. So the first key thing that you need to know is that we have to start executive function with this image in mind. Now, the second thing that these kids are demonstrating, or a lack of, is what we call situational intelligence. Situational